All right, are we ready? Are we ready, blockers? We are at the end and we are ready to do the construction of our quilt. It has been 12 weeks. 12 weeks that it has taken us to be able to do one block each day. Some of you that are seasoned quilters, like you have projects that you started 10, 12, maybe even longer years ago and still don't have that quilt done. And guess what? Doing this class with me here, you guys are gonna have a completed project. Yay! We all love completed projects when we do get them. So what this video is for is we are at the end. We have already constructed all of our 12 blocks, right? So now it is time to size up the blocks so that everything is going to fit appropriately. And then we are also getting ready to do our cutting, our measuring for our outer borders. We have an inner outer border and we have an outer border. And so we want to make sure that we get those all cut and ready to be able to stitch that together next week. So I do have the measurements that you are going to need. What we need to make sure that we have the little triangle blocks at the, what do I want to say, the outer border. So let me just step over here real quick, and we're gonna go over this. We went over it in the last video, block number 12. We went over this, but we're gonna go ahead and do it again for people that maybe are just checking out what this is all about. So we need these big triangle blocks. You will have 10 of those, okay? And those need to be cut at 18¼ inch. And then you're going to cut diagonally and then cut the other direction diagonally to make 4 of these blocks here. Or I should say triangles, or blocks, triangles. And then you will go ahead and you'll make sure, go ahead and place those. And then you're going to have your small corner triangles. And those you're going to cut 2, and they're going to be 9 3/8 inch. And you're only going to cut those in one diagonal direction. And then you will place 2 at the top corners and 2 at the bottom corners. And on this one here, if you only want to be able to cut 3 big 18¼ by 18¼ inch block, and then when you cut the diagonal and you get one of your triangle pieces, and you want to just cut 1 because you need 10, so there's going to be an oddball. So you're either going to cut 4 big blocks and have 3 extra triangles, or cut 3 big blocks and take one of the triangles to cut a single triangle to give you that 10th. You want to make sure that all of your blocks that you have measured from both sides, and write that down. I put little sticky labels on mine telling me the, like how wide and how long or whatever. And if you are doing the backing, and so I told you before that I put the woven fusible on the back of my pieces, and it will take care of all of those loose seams that kind of fold over every time you go to sew. But it'll also, because I press all of my seams open, and it will secure, it'll give more security for that, those open seams. And if you are doing that, you need to make sure that all of these are done, that you've got all of the woven fusible to the backs before you start trimming. So if you are doing the trimming before, you're just going to be making more work for yourself. So make sure that you have, if you are doing this, that you're putting the woven fusible on the back before you do your final trim. But when you do measure you're not measuring the outer part here of that woven fusible. You are only measuring from the, if you have like I know I've got a block up here, let me look. If you have a block that, okay, let's do this one. Okay, so our baskets of love. So if you look down the side here, you see it just kind of gradually it's small and it gets a little wider. So when measuring, you want to make sure that you're measuring from that smallest point, that smallest area down to the next area, and get that smallest, because when you go to stitch these together, if I measure over here down to here, then I go to stitch and I've got this lacking over here, there's no way to make that up. So you want to make sure that you are measuring from your smallest area across that, I guess I'd say horizontally, I guess. And then just move it around and then measure again. See, I've got a little bit of a piece that sticks up here, but it's shorter over here. So I'm going to measure from that shorter point, my shortest area, down to the next area, all the way down to the end of the block, okay? To be able to get that measurement. So if you are not going to go ahead and put any backing on the pieces that you did piece together, that is totally up to you. I only do this because I'm trying to show you just some things that I do, just give you, a few heads up on other ideas. But on the blue blocks, what we call our blue blocks, I would highly recommend that you do put a backing on those, and also on these triangles, even the ones up in the corner. You want to be able to do that so that you have the stability. You have more stability because you've got all of these pieces that are built up, and you don't want to have a floppy piece up against a piece that's not so floppy. And when I do these, it stabilizes all of my pieces, and I don't have any floppy pieces, and they all just go together very nicely. And then I wanted to go ahead and touch base on the being able to audition. You want to make sure that you have all of your pieces. It took me about an hour to look through all of these, and these poor blocks, they have been all over this board. But that's what it takes to be able to get what you want and where you like it. You want to make sure that you're not bunching everything up in one area. So my advice would be take a picture of it and look at the picture. And instead of standing in front of it, it's a lot easier to see it in the picture. And if you do that, then you can see a little better and clearer, because standing here and staring at it constantly, it gets overwhelming. So take a picture once you get it all together. Take a picture and make sure that that's where you want those blocks. And then go ahead and decide on what you're wanting for. This is what I've decided on my inner border, and this is my outer border. So I had to audition these pieces along with this. I knew I wanted this for my outer border, but I was not anywhere, yellow was not in my radar at all. And I have not been a fan of this yellow in this quilt for some reason. I don't know. And here I'm wearing yellow. I just happened to realize I'm wearing yellow. But I have not been a fan of the yellow, but it worked best after I auditioned my different strips along the side here. I originally was going to go with my teal color, but it wasn't really showing. There wasn't enough contrast there. And then I tried the red, and it was just overwhelming because you know, I had a lot of red in here and it was just really overwhelming. And then I tried the green and it was just kind of dull. So this kind of reminds me of a fairy tale. I feel like I'm telling the Three Bears story. But then I got to yellow and it was just right. So we're going with the yellow. And I want to be able to tell you your different sizes. So I know you guys just love all of my artistic graphics here, but this is what we are calling our inner border, okay? And so our inner vertical lines, which would be the two that are going straight up and down, you are going to want those to be two, you need two of them, two borders, and those are 2.5 inches by 68.5 inches, okay? So make sure, go ahead and start writing this stuff down. Our inner vertical border is, you need two of them, and it's 2.5 inches by 68.5 inches, okay? We get to our horizontal, our inner, where the blue is, our inner horizontal border, and you need two of those, and it's 2.5 inches by 55.5 inches, okay? When we get to our green, which is what we're calling our outer border, and that is our vertical, and we want two of those because we have one on that side and one on that side. We want two of those, 5.5 inches at 72.5 inches. And then we go, we got to have something at the top and at the bottom, and that's our outer horizontal border. We need two of those, a top and a bottom, and 5.5 inches.
You're blocking it.
Oh, this one. I'm sorry. Here we go. I'll hold this up like this. And so this here is our outer horizontal border, and it's two of those at 5.5 inches by 65.5 inches. And then if you notice, I've got the little pink area that's going around here, and this is what would be considered our binding. And we need enough binding that's 2.25 inches in strip to be able to make 204 inches in length to be able to get all the way around on our quilt. Again, the oversized, I keep saying oversized, the overall size of the quilt will be 65 by 82 inches, and that is going to be the size, it's going to be a little shy of a twin size, okay, twin size batting. And we do have the twin size batting in stock, just came in. So if you are needing this batting, we do have that in stock. You will get your 20% discount on that. So make sure to come in and pick yours up. And if anyone has any other questions about the size or anything, it's totally up to you if you want to take and piece these together. Because if you're going and you're just getting, so you know, say that you're the outer border and is 5.5. Well, you need 5.5 two ways, right? And it needs to be 65. No, outer is 72.5. So you're going to have 72.5 inches, 5.5 and 5.5. So that's going to be 11. So if you have 11 inches and you take that 72.5 inches long, that is a whole lot of yardage and a whole lot of extra that you're going to have. So if you want to be able to just piece those pieces together, that's what I plan to do, and you know, that's totally up to you, but that is an option. Now in this whole same part here, what we're doing, we are going to go ahead and show you how to start to size up your blocks, okay? Your triangles, once you get those cut, those should be good to go. And if you do iron the woven fusible on the back, you will have the excess. Just take your ruler and line it up along the edge of the piece and just swipe it away, because those don't need any sizing. Those are the sizes that they need to be, and just leave those alone. Keep them like that, just take the excess off. And on the others, you need to make your pieces 12 inches. The finished block will be the 12 inches. So we are going to, I'm going to show you a little trick here. And what you're going to need is some parchment paper, okay? You're going to need your rotary cutter. You're going to need a rotary cutting mat. And you're going to need that handy dandy 24.5-inch ruler. And you're going to need at least one pin, okay? So what you want to do is you want to take your parchment paper, and we're going to go ahead and measure this to be about, that should be, okay, I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to take and we're going to fold this in half. Make sure that it is in half, okay? Because this is what you're going to measure your block off of. So we're going to take, and like I've got, see, I've got some, it's not lining up right here. So I need to make sure that that is cut so that it is even. So I'm going to, just as if this was a piece of fabric, I'm lining up my piece and lining up here. And I'm going to give this a cut so that I have that perfect side. Now I'm going to line that up with my 1 inch, and I'm going to come over here and make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So just on the other side of 13 here, I'm going to put my ruler. Make sure that I didn't move. Okay, and I'm going to line this up. Make sure it's all lined up and perfect. And I am going to trim that piece off. Okay, now I am going to fold this in half again. And you want to make sure that it is a perfect fold. You're not over too far one way or the other, okay? And that it's all lining up, okay? And then we're going to take and we're going to fold this down. It's not wanting to. You need to go ahead. Hold on here. We got to mark it for 12. Yep, I made it too long. So hold on just a second here. So line that up and make sure that you're at your 12. That's 12. I'm going to go up here and that's to there. And we're going to go ahead and trim. And then don't be afraid to always double, triple, and quadruple check your cut, because your cutting is crucial and you need to make sure you're precise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was where I needed to trim that off. Okay. Now we can go ahead and fold that to find our center. Okay, so let's go ahead, make sure that it is on point, just like this. And fold it again, make sure that it's same point. Okay, and then go ahead and fold it over this way. I just picked it up, so here I pick it up as if I was opening it, and I'm just putting this piece right over here like this. Okay, and now pick the whole thing up and flip this other one to where we're making a triangle. Okay, I hope I didn't lose anybody. Tim, did I lose you? No? Okay. All right. And then you're going to open it all back up, and you're going to find your center and put a pin. You're going to put a pin right in the center of that. Actually, let me flip it over that way. Okay. And then you're going to take, I don't have any seams to follow here, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold this. We have to make sure that when we're folding, I have not trimmed away any of my woven fusible yet, so we want to make sure, let me fold it on the inside like this. We want to make sure that it's actually the fabric to fabric and not anything that has to do with that woven fusible, so that we make sure that we're getting our 12. Okay, so we're folding that, and we go over and we fold this again. To find our center point. And if you have a whole lot of, actually I can see it better on my back here, so I'm gonna just attach this piece to this piece in the center. Okay, and we're going to lay this right on top, and it should be all centered up. That looks good. And then we're going to take our 24.5-inch ruler, and we're going to put that right on top of there. Okay, line that up right along the edge of that paper. And we're going to cut right along the edge. Okay. And if you happen to have a rotary mat that spins and it's big enough to be able to do that, with this size block, I'm going to scoot this all over just a little bit here. I would highly recommend that. It would make things a lot easier for you. And all you're doing is you're just lining this up right alongside with that paper, because that is going to be your 12-inch block. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to cut that piece. And again, lay that right here. Don't move my... And if you have wax paper and you can use some waxed paper, you can iron and then your piece will stay steady on there. But my piece with my wax paper would not, I wouldn't be able to see my wax paper. So I had to use my parchment paper, and well, that piece does not want to come off there. All right, and we've got one more to go. And you're just, whatever you do, take your time with these, because if you cut it and it's not right, guess what? You get to remake it. And not that there's anything bad about that, because it just gives you more practice, right? But then again, it's time to move on. All right, so now this is my 12-inch paper and my 12-inch completed block. And now it's all ready to get stitched to the next part as soon as I get all of the rest of them all sized up. So right now, just make sure that that's what you're doing, is you are going through, make sure that you measure all your pieces first to make sure that you're going to at least have enough to be able to get to that 12-inch. And I have a couple, like I said, that are 11 7/8 inch, and I'm still going to use that. I'm going to give it a whirl, and when I go to stitch, I'm not going to do a 1/4 inch, I'm just going to do an 1/8 inch on that side. So that is an option that you can do. It's totally up to you, but if you wanted to remake it, then you most certainly could. But we will go ahead and be ready then next week when we get ready to do our construction of putting the blocks, sewing them all together, and being able to do our inner and outer borders. All right, well, we will see you then next Tuesday, and bye for now.